Okay, so this is number 22. We're going to find the area of this triangle. So what do we notice about this triangle? Hopefully you notice that it is an isosceles triangle. Okay, so when we draw the height of our isosceles triangle, we have to draw this in here, right? 10 is your base, so let's see, here's the base. That's a pretty obvious one, hopefully. This is your base, right? So in your formula, 1/2 base times height, that's 1/2 of 10, right? 10 is your base. But what do we know about that height? What does the height do to your base? It bisects it, so it chops it exactly into 2 equal parts. So this part down here is 5, and this part up here is 5. So in a regular isosceles triangle, it doesn't give you a 30, 60, 90, right? This is not a special right triangle. It's just a right triangle. Only with an equilateral triangle are you going to have 30, 60, 90s and special relationships. But here, this is just an isosceles, so we only have the Pythagorean theorem to work with. 5 squared plus h squared equals 30 squared. Okay, so we're going to calculate the height of this isosceles triangle with the Pythagorean theorem. Okay, and it looks like it's going to be a pretty large number because 30 squared is 900, and 900 minus 25 is not a very small number. So 875. The square root of 875 is the height for our isosceles triangle that we are dealing with. Okay, so when we find the area, we plug all this into our calculator, and we probably round to 3 decimals since we're taking the square root of 875. And my calculator is saying 147.902. And hopefully if you tried the calculations on your own calculator, it is saying the same thing, because that would be correct. Okay, let's move on up. The area of an isosceles right triangle is 80. Okay, so now we know that not only is it an isosceles triangle, but it's an isosceles right triangle. Okay, so this is a special drawing that you need to make sure you do for every isosceles right triangle. Okay, this is your isosceles right triangle picture. Okay, we don't draw it with the perpendicular side up, or rather we draw it like that. Okay, so that is it's your 45, 45, 90 triangle, right? An isosceles right triangle is a special right triangle, where both of your base and your height are what value? They're the same. So since we don't know what they are, you can call them whatever your favorite variable is, right? Traditionally, math's favorite variable is x. So both of those are x. So when we go into your area formula to figure out what your side lengths are, that becomes 1/2 of x times x. This only happens in an isosceles right triangle, that both of your sides are the same length. So when we're going to deal with this, we have x times x, which is x squared, and let's get rid of that 1/2 again by multiplying by 2. Right, so this is multiplication. X times x is x squared. Okay, there's not x plus x, it's x times x. We are multiplying. So our last step is going to be to take the square root of 160. So let's see what my calculator says for square root of 160. Hopefully your calculator says the same thing. 12.649. 12.649. So that is the length of one side. 12.649 and 12.649. So if I want to find the perimeter, I need to now calculate the hypotenuse. And we can do that 2 different ways. One way is, of course, with the Pythagorean theorem. You can go back and figure out what that is with the Pythagoras, or you can take your side length and multiply it by the square root of 2. So take your 12.649 and multiply it by the square root of 2. Okay, so in your calculator, right, we can do this, and a decimalized comes out to be 17.888 or 17.889. Okay, so that's what my calculator says is the hypotenuse of this triangle. So the perimeter is the sum of all three sides. So 12.649 plus 12.649 plus 17.889 get you the perimeter, which looks like 43.187 or thereabouts, right? On your test tomorrow, if you put 186 or 188 or 19, right, all of those would be acceptable as long as you showed me all of your work. If I can see that you have great geometric understanding, but you have poor decimal understanding, then I will give you all the credit for your geometry. Okay? So make sure you watch the other video to get the other 20 questions on this review done properly. Okay, goodbye.